Have you ever wondered what's really going on inside that pill you swallow? What if it was more than just medicine? What if it was a tiny, intelligent machine? Well, today, we're diving into the incredible science behind how these smart drugs are designed, tested, and delivered right where your body needs them most.
I mean, just think about it. Imagine a medicine that isn't just a simple chemical, but a sophisticated delivery system, like a smart package that can navigate through your body and drop off its contents at exactly the right place at precisely the right time. It might sound a little like science fiction, but this is the absolute cutting edge of modern medicine.
And just take a look at this. On one side, you've got the familiar, everyday tablet. But on the other, you have this high-tech, drug-eluting stent. The journey from that simple pill to this incredibly sophisticated device, well, that's a story of some amazing innovation. And it's all happening on a scale so small it's hard to even imagine.
So you might be asking, why did we even need to move beyond the simple pill in the first place? Well, let's start with the big problem that scientists were trying to solve, the major limitations of conventional medicine.
You see, a standard pill often acts like a floodgate opening, releasing its entire dose all at once. This creates a huge peak of medicine in your system, which is then followed by a rapid drop-off, a valley. And this whole roller coaster ride can lead to nasty side effects when the dose is too high, and then become totally ineffective when it's too low. It's just not a very efficient way to do things.
So how do we fix this whole peak and valley problem? The answer, it turns out, lies in building medicine on an entirely new scale. So let's enter the absolutely fascinating world of nanofabrication.
Okay, think of nanofabrication as a toolkit for building things, but at the molecular level. We're talking about structures that are between 1 and 100 nanometers. Now, to give you some perspective, a single human hair is about 80,000 nanometers wide. Working with this kind of precision lets scientists engineer materials with totally new and unique properties.
And the benefits of working at this tiny scale are just huge. We can create smaller, more efficient devices, which makes testing way cheaper and faster. This leads to quicker diagnoses, sometimes right at the patient's bedside, and that ultimately lowers healthcare costs and seriously improves patient care. It's a total game changer.
And one of the coolest things to come out of this field is something called the nanocarrier. The best way to think of them is as microscopic delivery drones. These tiny packages are engineered to protect the drug, navigate the complex highways of the body, and deliver their payload to a very precise target.
So just how effective are these little drones? Well, get this. In one incredible study, a drug for the brain was delivered using a nanocarrier nasal spray. The result? The drug concentration in the brain was over 2.5 times higher than with a traditional IV. That is the power of precision targeting.
Now, getting the drug to the right place is one piece of the puzzle. But what about when the drug gets released? This brings us to the next amazing innovation: pills that literally have a tiny engine inside, all designed for a smart, controlled release.
And, controlling the drug release in a pill is a really big deal, mainly because it's the most common way we all take medicine. If we can make our pills smarter, it's way more convenient for patients, and it often means you don't have to take as many doses each day.
So how in the world do you build an engine inside a pill? Well, one of the most brilliant designs is the osmotic pump. It is just a marvel of microengineering. Here's how it works. After you swallow it, water from your body enters the pill through a special membrane. This starts to build pressure inside, which then pushes the medicine out through a teeny tiny, laser-drilled hole at a perfectly steady, controlled rate. How cool is that?
Okay, these drug designs are obviously incredibly sophisticated, but how do we guarantee that they work perfectly every single time? Well, before any medicine can get to a patient, it has to survive a grueling series of tests, what I like to call the laboratory obstacle course. In the world of medicine, consistency is absolutely everything. Every single pill from every single batch has to perform exactly the way it was designed to, and the main gatekeeper for this consistency is a process known as dissolution testing. Dissolution testing basically just measures how fast a drug dissolves, but it's so much more than a simple measurement. It really is that quality control obstacle course. This one test proves that the drug releases at the correct rate, which is how we know it's going to be both safe and effective for patients.
So, welcome to the obstacle course. This right here is a modern dissolution apparatus. Inside those vessels, scientists are simulating the conditions of the human body, measuring exactly how a new drug performs under pressure, literally second by second.
And this isn't some random process either.
It is highly standardized by organizations like the U.S. Pharmacopeia. They have very specific methods and equipment to make sure these tests are reliable and repeatable no matter where in the world they're being done.
So how do regulators like the FDA actually use this data? Well, let's say a manufacturer makes a tiny change to a pill. They have to prove the new pills are identical in performance to the old ones. So they run these tests on both batches and then use a special formula to calculate a similarity score. If they get a passing score, it's a mathematical guarantee that the new medicine is just as safe and effective as the old one.
All right, this brings us to the final, and maybe most critical piece of the puzzle. How do we connect all this data from the lab to what actually happens inside a real person? For that, we need a very special kind of translator. In science, you'll hear two key terms all the time. In vitro, which means in glass, is for what happens in a lab test. And in vivo, which means in the living, is for what happens inside the body. The single biggest challenge of drug development is being able to reliably connect the results from the lab to the results in people.
The solution is a brilliant concept called in vitro/in vivo correlation, or IVIVC for short. The best way to think of it is as the Rosetta Stone of drug development. It is a powerful mathematical model that translates what happens in the lab into predictions of how a drug will actually behave in the human body.
Now, these correlations come in different levels of quality. Some just offer a pretty basic comparison. But the real gold standard is what's called Level A. This is a true point-for-point match, where the lab test can perfectly predict the drug's journey in the human body. That is the ultimate goal.
So why does this matter so much? Well, a strong Level A correlation is so powerful that it can sometimes replace the need for certain human trials. This can dramatically speed up drug approvals. It reduces the need for human testing, and it helps ensure that every single batch of that medicine is safe and effective. So there you have it. From building drugs atom by atom to pills with their own engines inside, this is the amazing journey of modern medicine. These brilliant, tiny technologies, validated by virtual models, are truly revolutionizing how we treat disease. The only question left is, what incurable disease will they conquer next?